Be strong and courageous.
Anywhere you see a gap between what you think might be possible and what is, that's an opportunity for an entrepreneur to dive in.
There are ways to succeed. There are models in entrepreneurship investing. There are people who have found a path before.
To dream about like what are the talents that you have and what are the things that make you come alive.
That there's actually a generation of warrior entrepreneurs, people that are willing to stand up, to do the hard work, to start a thing, to see a thing through.
Here's our mission, and we're going to take a step forward, just one foot in front of the other, and we're going to build something great.
We can make a difference. Let's do this in our lifetime. Let's see how much positive change we can drive. Well, good afternoon and welcome to another podcast of Take Your Mountain. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing another one of my partners at Gratus Funds, Austin Schmitt. So welcome, Austin. Looking forward to chatting and just sharing a little bit of your story and how that connects to, what we're up to.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. It's cool to see this come to fruition. You've been talking about doing a podcast for a while, and to see it actually come to life is fun. You in your element.
Awesome. Well, good. Yeah, I think where we like to start off often is just kind of sharing a little bit of your background. It doesn't need to be a 17-chapter biography, but, a little where you came from, how you grew up, and some of the experiences that led you into adulthood.
Cool. Yeah, it won't be 17 chapters. I'm the youngest one of the crew, so I don't have as many chapters as some of you guys do. So yeah, I grew up, I'm Minnesota bred, born and raised, and grew up on the west side of the Twin Cities here. And growing up was pretty much a suburban middle class lifestyle, I would say. It's grew up two parents that were together at the time, raised in a Christian home, going to school, going to church. I was actually homeschooled until I was in 7th grade, full time, and then started going to one of the public schools in the area for music so that I could play sports in the public school. So that was kind of, if you took one class, you could do sports with the public school kids. So started doing that in 7th grade, and then just begged my parents and eventually wore them down to go into public school starting 9th grade. So public schooler after that. Was super active in both sports and music throughout middle school and high school. Heavily involved in our church, in our youth group, and I would say I probably lived the lifestyle of having two separate and distinct lives. I had one that came out while I was at school, when I was playing sports and trash talking and flirting with girls. And then I had the life that I lived in the youth group, which was hopefully what every parent wanted their kid to be. So definitely wasn't the most wholesome life on all ends. But at the end of the day, it was really, what I knew was that God loved me and that my heart was for him. And so that was, that took me into the decision to go into Northwestern College here which is now Northwestern University. I didn't get the university credentials. It was just a measly old college when I was there.
Missed it by a year or two?
I missed it by, it was actually the last year, my senior year, they switched it over, but most of my credits were already in the college days, so I didn't get that. But big rivals with Bethel University, where your alma mater.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you beat us in most sports.
Had a few more. That's all.
Yeah. So went to Northwestern. I actually started off studying pre-med there. Was really interested in doing both physical therapy and sports medicine type of stuff right out of high school. And that's where I started my college studying, was in that. And then I hit this crazy class that I had heard a lot about, but it was called, what was it? Biochemistry. Yeah. Biochemistry. And that was when I knew that the medical life was no longer for me. I was in over my head at that point. I knew all about the muscles and the bones and some genetics and stuff like that, but man, when it came to biochem, that was enough. So I started.
Those sciences can be legit. I think we had to take one or two, and when they said it's a 3-hour course or a 4-hour course, like other classes, you whiz through the homework pretty quick. Like a 3-hour lab, 3-hour lab.
Yeah,
it's pretty serious.
It was a 3-hour lab. But yeah, so I actually had started a business minor at the time, and I started kind of considering what that would look like to run a sports medicine clinic or do something like that. And for some reason, the business side of things was coming really easy to me. The accounting, the business operations, and the strategy courses and everything, and even just the personal finance classes. Those are my favorite. Those classes were coming extremely easy to me. And yeah, the pre-med stuff was just getting harder and harder. So kind of started to take a hint, and then I actually got a really cool experience to go to Haiti during my college years. And that was kind of the final nail in the coffin to switch the major over from pre-med to business and start focusing heavily on that.
So tell me a little bit about that. So why was a trip to Haiti? How did that, sounds like it was like maybe a mission trip or something. How did that impact your business decisions?
My idea of business was kind of abstract at the time. I didn't have any. My dad ran a construction company, but not on the business side, more on the blue collar side. My mom was a swim coach and a homeschool mom, and she kind of did her own business with some seamstress stuff, just kind of making ends meet, a little extra money for the family. So my business idea of what business meant in the world was very slim up until that point, because I just had never had a good example of that in my life. However, when I so it was actually crazy. So in 2010, if you remember, the big earthquake hit Haiti in January of 2010. And I was in college. I had just finished my sophomore year. And my best friend at the time was a missionary kid from Haiti. And I had always said, man, I'd love to come down and see where you grew up and see your school. I've seen all these pictures, but I've never been there. It'd be cool to go with you over Christmas break sometime. So December of 2020 or 2010, he goes, hey, I'm going back. Obviously, Haiti is still rebuilding. It needs a lot of help. And why don't you just come down and hang out and help a little bit? And I did not know what I was getting myself into. It was my first time out of the country by myself. So I flew to Miami. I slept in the airport overnight. And if you know anything about the Miami airport, it really doesn't sleep. So it was just me laying on the ground on my suitcase overnight, just all these people going past. And I made it down to Haiti, and I had this little notepad from him, and he said, okay, so when you get through Haiti security, go through customs, which really isn't customs, go outside, go past the UN tanks, and take a right, and we'll be a mile down the road. And I was like, all right, I've never been here before, so that seems fair enough. Little did I know that
body cell service there, or
no cell service. It was just, we're going to be in this type of car about a mile away. If you go to this spot, you've gone too far.